South India's #1 travel brand. You know you are special when you're with GT Holidays.
Hello, Sandeep. Welcome to Galatta Plus.
Hi, Baradwaj. Thank you for having me here.
I'm actually here in your office, so this is a nice reversal. I just noticed two books here. One is you got a book about Jackie Chan. You're a big fan.
I became a fan recently, and somebody gifted me this book. There's a music director, Simon King, and Simon's wife, Shiva. She gifted me this book when I had gone over to their place in Chennai for dinner. So I read it. I loved it. There's a small anecdote at some point I'll tell you. If you can hear it right away. I
Yeah.
heard it from Ritik. So when I had some meetings with Ritik at some point, and while we are chatting, we'll always have a ball for his hamstring or some stretches are going on. And after 3-4 meetings, I asked him that, HR, what do you keep doing? Oh, this is for my hamstring because I worked out in the morning. I need to stretch it. He said, I learned it from Jackie Chan. I said, Jackie Chan? He said, yeah, he met Jackie Chan at some point. He said he was doing a meeting with him, and in the middle of the meeting, Jackie Chan is doing some long stretches, this and that. And he asked Jackie, and Jackie said, while I'm talking to you, it's only my mind and my mouth is getting used. I only have 24 hours in a day. How do I stack it? So I said, I stack it by finding other things I can do alongside. So I can stretch while I'm talking to you. So that's his way of doing it. So Ritik picked it up from him, and I hope someday I'll pick something like that. I'm sitting here without any stretches, so I've not picked it up yet.
You know, that's fascinating because there is a theory that says that you should not stack your day. Some people say Instagram.
Okay.
And smell the roses, like watch the sunrise, it's okay to be bored and things like that. I don't know. I find that some people they just want to do more. And I don't know. I think it's a personality thing.
I think it's a millennial thing.
It's a millennial thing of
I have
wanting
a
to stack
feeling.
it, or
Wanting to stack it. I think
Jackie Chan is not a millennial.
it's not.
Right.
I don't know the exact term for what Jenny comes from. I just feel for a lot of us, we came from backgrounds where our parents just had very modest means, and it could get you just about a starting point.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
about enough to get to the
You
starting
had to
point.
work hard.
So you knew that this is the amount of sacrifice that's taken to get you here. Now is the time for you to see how do you max out and reach the farthest end you can, the quicker you can. So I see this in a lot of people in my generation. So I'm assuming it's a millennial thing in that way. I think Instagram is, while all of us use it, but it's more for people who are saying, okay, slow down, you're doing enough stacking now.
It's for people for whom life says you have time for Instagram.
Yeah. Well said, Maddie.
Congratulations for Night Manager. It's been nominated for the International Emmy Awards, and you're going to fly to New York for that. It's in prestigious company. I wanted to know what you thought when you first got a show and said, this is a nice show. We're going to make it in India, but we want you to take charge of it. What was your reaction to it?
Firstly, thank you. Thank you for the wishes. Extremely elated, and I think the whole team is excited for it. The time you asking me to jog my memory back was somewhere in October 2020.
Wow.
Right, and since we're talking of social media, it was a Twitter DM from a dear friend from Hotstar who reached out saying, I need you. We have a show which we think you're the right guy for. Please call me.
Okay.
We called and we spoke, and he spoke about doing an adaptation of The Night Manager. I actually told him, you know what, I have seen the original, I think in 2016 when it came out, and I'm not a huge fan, genuinely. So are you sure you want me? Let me be very honest. And I said, even I need to find whether I will be able to do any justice to it. I don't know whether I will be able to see it in a new light. There was already a certain, a team on board. Sridhar was on board.
Raghavan.
Sridhar Raghavan was already on board, but he wanted a directorial vision on a creator on how we should approach it.
Yeah, I think he was one of the writers ultimately, right?
No, he is the lead writer.
Oh, he's the lead writer.
He's the lead writer.
Okay, yeah.
We have Shantanu and Akshat who did the dialogues for it, but Sridhar is the writer.
Okay.
So at that time, I remember going in for a meeting with, I think, the multiple producers. The Lakar family was one of the producers, and we had um, Hotstar, and we had some other producers from US also involved at that time. Preeti Zinta was involved at some point also. So with all of them, and I think I set the cat in the room when I said, I'm not actually a huge fan. And maybe I feel after, in hindsight, and maybe that's why it might be interesting that instead of just making a statement that I feel this could have been done better, let me point out maybe things that could be done better. And I thought at the end of that meeting, bhai, this is
You're
never
fired.
happening.
Yeah.
And I think I was okay with that. I thought it's important to be genuine because it looked like a long journey and looked like if you're honest about your intent, it will transcend if it's meant to be. And that's what happened. They liked it and they said, we like the thoughts and, you come on board. And it was quite something after Arya, which I was the co-creator on season one, to get to do something like this, an adaptation of this, not just something a show just popular, but also I think there's a lot of love for it even among critically. Though I was somebody who felt it could be done better in some ways, and Susanna Breyer is going to kill me when she hears this. Uh, but I thought that this is a huge opportunity. Uh, a lot of prep that happened on it, and somewhere I think the when I look back now, I feel we got successful in the kind of people we brought together and the intent with which people came together, because nowhere I think we cut corners, whether it was effort, whether it was resources. At no point anybody was thinking, oh, let's just get it done with, till the last moment when the episode had to be given. uh, we were trying to fix as much as we can, try to better it in as much as we can. And I think they say every film is never complete, it's always abandoned.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's one of those feelings
Yeah.
that we had. So it's a lovely journey. It feels like, wow, it's been 4 years since that day
Yeah,
to
and
now.
there's a lovely reward at the end of that journey.
Oh
So that's
yes, I hope yes. The
yeah.
nominations are a reward by itself. As we said, it's August company to be in, and twice over. The second time
Yeah.
lucky, but I get luckier if we get the nod. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I know that there's too many things, but tell me one thing that you felt that was not working with the earlier thing that you fixed in this.
I'm finding it a little rude for me to say I fixed something.
Not
I'll say
okay, but you know what I
in all
mean. Yeah,
humility, I'll
yeah.
say something which I said if I had to do it. I said that we're talking of a man who changes everything in his life and becomes a spy. I think that is something which I wanted to not question once I go ahead of that point. And for me, that's why the pilot episode, where the story starts in Dhaka, and the relationship between Safina and Shan, and what happens to Safina, and somewhere that Shan feels responsible for that girl's death. Uh, I think that is something which I think Sridhar and me really worked hard, and we were convinced that it has to be something compelling enough for you to not think about it again, and to also make it an emotional journey rather than just being the story had the garb of gorgeous locations, gorgeous people, money. But we thought that if it has a beating heart, that will really carry you through the story, and carry Shan through. So I think that is something which I am personally very proud of and happy that we stuck our guns to, and managed to keep it intact. And somewhere when I was seeing in some screenings that we did, reactions of people, I think it really reached people. It really moved people, that track and how it affected Sean. So I'm personally, that is something which I really feel good about in hindsight.
Nice. So, while they were setting up the lights for this interview, we were chatting outside, and we were talking a bit about worldview. How much of a filmmaker's worldview affects the movies that he or she makes? Because sometimes are there just projects that you get in because it's a job, you need money at the end of the day, and you just have to power through it? Or is there always your worldview that you're going to put on it like a frame on anything that you do?
I think there are two ways of looking at it. One is a choice that one makes, and these are maybe conscious or sometimes subconscious choices one makes. Even if two filmmakers end up making the same thing, the same script, they will end up doing it very
Yeah,
differently. And somewhere that's their point of view, worldview coming together. I I feel I actually look for stories that allow me the opportunity to put forth a worldview consciously. For me, I found an opportunity to put an anti-war narrative with the night manager somewhere. A warmonger versus a spy who's trying to stop it. It felt like the right cultural, personal worldviews that I wanted to put forth in my stories. Uh, Arya again, about family, etc. It felt right at that time for me to do it. So consciously I get attracted to stories which allow me even a little, not something which is preachy, but something which allows me to have something to say with it. Uh, but this is conscious. Subconsciously, if a story has just a limited thing, it's just an entertainer. Absolutely, you don't look down at it. But automatically, I think the way you look at small things, you put a person in disability, will you make a joke on it? It's a scene view, and that is a worldview. That's a personal view on a person, the politics of the person that stand out. Uh, I feel it will reflect how much ever you try, and that's a joy of it. As a filmmaker,
Yeah.
you have control if you want over every single color of a wall that you see in a frame, every single object kept inside. Somewhere that's an opportunity to say something. So I think if I can control that and make the audience feel a certain way, there's no better joy.
What does the painting behind you say about you? What does
I
it
think it tells me
like to
that.
whoever comes into this room? What does it say?
Okay, I'll wait for your interpretation first, but
No, no, you tell me.
I just find the three eyes gorgeous. I find that there is a third eye. There is always a third perspective, and that's what I always got attracted when I saw this painting. It's something from a street artist in London. I picked it from. It's not
It's
some.
kind of Picasso-esque.
There is, and still I find it every time I look at it, it always I know unravels more. So I think that's what I like. I feel like it's not definitive towards a certain way. That's my thoughts, always fluid. Okay, I'm trying to overthink now.
No, no, I love this because I think people undervalue deconstruction because the thing is they always think that the director is right. I always like try to approach it like what does it say to me, right? It's like as opposed to what is the artist thinking when he did
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
because ultimately the artist is not there to explain every single thing to you. You
Yeah,
buy the
yeah.
painting from, let's say, a museum or any museum gift store or something like that, and you take it home because it speaks to you.
Yeah.
It's not because the artist speaks to you; it's because the painting speaks to you. So, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, one thing I wanted to ask you is, you have a very varied uh, schooling in terms of cinema. On the one hand, you worked with RGV. On the other hand, you worked with on a movie which was in its time, very like a lot of people made fun of that movie. What's Your Rashi, right? It's like at that point it was a very, I don't know if the word trolled existed at that time, but it was a movie that was like really not. What did you learn from RGV? What did you learn from What's Your Rashi? And I mean this in with most utmost respect because I think everything teaches you something.
No, thank you for asking this. I think there's a very funny incident before this. Funny now in hindsight. I remember the first time I wrote for film school. I was writing for the film appreciation course at FTI, and they asked me to write three films that really, you really have made an impact on you. And I'm sure everybody wrote about Fellini and all the great Godads of the world. I wrote Satya, and number two, Company. I
Okay.
don't remember the third one. And I love these films of RGV. I thought they were epoch making. I think what it did at that time was outstanding.
Yeah.
Uh, and after this journey was done, eventually I went to film school. I came back, in the first Filmmaker I got an opportunity to assist was RGV. The funniest thing is and this was Sarkar Raj, for 3 months that we were filming it, I couldn't talk to him. Okay, first of all, there was of course the image that he's RGV,
Yeah.
always speaks little. I remember there
RGV speaks little.
speaks little to his crew.
Oh, okay.
He speaks very little to his crew. He talks to the actors Amit G and Amit. Amit was the DOP, and Amit G is Amit G. He used to talk man of few words and would only talk in whispers. Uh, so what I enjoyed was with RGV was the way he looked at scenes. I'll tell you a very interesting anecdote. I'm not going to name an actor. I'd gone to Hyderabad to cast for that film. There was a scene which Abhishek Bachchan's character's introduction scene in the film Sarkar Raj. And I think he's talking to a minister. It's like how both of us are talking, and at that time there was no concept of casting directors. The assistants would cast. So and we were filming in Hyderabad, so I had gone there to cast for it, and my job was to audition all the tertiary, secondary cast, if we call that. People who only have a scene
Right.
or a small part of dialogue. This was the most important part for me. I had marked with a star and highlighted, saying, okay, this is the part. I'm gonna get the best actor from Hyderabad for this part, a theatre actor, and I really scrounged the city for this, and got a very senior actor to do this part. And we went to shoot, and I was most proud. I said, there's a pride. You feel like, okay, the director will look at his performance and say, what a find. Who got this? I'll probably get an opportunity to talk to RGV that day. I remember the scene started, and you shoot over the shoulder, right? There's over the shoulder of that man, and you're shooting at Abhishek Bachchan. The camera's just tracking in, tracking in, tracking in. It did a couple of times and said, okay, done. And I said, okay, now the camera will turn around and now we'll look at this man. He says, done. I said, what just happened? And I was so disappointed. I said, why are you not shooting the other side? I don't need to. And I couldn't talk to him. I was talking the first. He said, he doesn't want to. That's a director. And later when I saw the film, I realized that that's a directorial focus. That's a directorial understanding that for me, what you don't show is what actually is the job of a director. The job of a director or even a screenplay writer versus a story is to say, this is the part I want you to focus on and this is the part I want you to ignore. I want you to only look at this man. Yes, there's one more man talking, but my option is, my choice I'm making to not show you. So that's something I always carried in my learning from RGV. I was like his Eklavya on that set. And only after I finished the film, I remember meeting him sometime and he smiled and I said, sir, you never spoke to me during the film. He said, well, I was filming. I said, okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But after that, so when I came back from film school, like every film fanatic, I made a list of 5 filmmakers I want to be around and observe. And there was Vishalji, which I never got a chance to assist him. But there was RGV, which I did. And there was Rakesh Mehra, which I did.
Delhi 6.
Delhi 6.
Yeah.
There was Ashutosh Gowarikar, right? Because these are filmmakers whose films had made a huge impact on me growing up. And I wanted to be around and see how they think. So Ashu ji, I worked with him on 2 films actually, Khele Hum and What's Your Rashi. Unfortunately, both didn't work well. Not the box office, and I think it was not his best work in a certain way. But I think there's a Eastwood saying that says you work equally hard on the bad ones.
Yeah.
So the process wasn't any different.
I mean, nobody sets out to make a bad
No
film.
one,
Yeah.
and I'm happy that at least as a filmmaker, he wasn't trying to repeat his previous films. It's very easy to fear these films and wanting to make one more Jodha Akbar and one more Lagan, make Lagan 2, Lagan 3 every year,
Yeah.
right? Which you see happening around us. At least he was not setting himself up for success. He was setting himself for saying, okay, there's one more genre I want to try. Yes, it didn't work, and the audience will, of course, respond. But somewhere I enjoyed the way he approached mise en scène. Ashuji had a very unique style, and a lot of times I find myself saying, okay, today I'm gonna do the Ashuji style.
Which is?
No, I think the way he sets up the scene prior with his actors, he actually, it's a very different style. I'll tell you about how Rakesh Mehra ji I had observed as his first AD working. He would actually do a reading with all actors prior to shoot. If you are shooting tomorrow, at the end of the day today, all the actors sit on set. He doesn't tell them what to do, and the actors will actually, at that time, would perform and then he would request the actors to leave, and the next day they'll come. And then he and his DOP Binodji at that time would do the short division. Ashuji had a unique style. He would actually play the part and try it because he was an actor himself, right? And so he would say, no, my motivation to move at this point is wrong. So he would feel for each part. At some point, he'll stand for Harman and perform and imagine what's going to be in his mind. Be Priyanka at some point, be Darshan Jariwala at some point. And while, and this is something which I really enjoyed, okay, this is a gorgeous anecdote, and I've tried and I've failed. So I was his first AD, and our jobs normally, because the director is controlling the actors, our job is to control the background.
Right.
You're doing a scene in a restaurant, and again, two people are talking, and somebody's supposed to be passing behind. You feel, when do you send that person? So on a walkie, you tell the 30, okay, now. Okay, it's been too long, nobody's moved. Okay, send somebody now. And then Ashuji would say, you're sending it randomly. I'll tell you when to send. Because in his mind, he knows that I am only going to cut to this person at this line. And at that point, I want some background action or somebody moving. If you're going to do it when the camera on the line is on this person, it's not going to be in the film. So how does he do it while he's in his headphones and looking at the performance? And he has his one hand saying now. On the other hand, he says trolley now. And I feel, how is he really looking at the performance? He's looking at timing, and once it's done, he has 20 notes for the actors, and I'm like, genius. So you learn a lot from all these
Lovely.
greats. It's amazing, and
Right.
I still feel, I don't know how does he do it. That's a man who's at the top of his craft.
So if I joined you as an AD, what would I learn?
Okay, that's a tough one.
But it's a serious question. I mean, like, what do you think is your thing?
I think I enjoy prepping hard, and then yet throwing it all away to enjoy the moment and see what the moment brings up for you. I want to ensure that you are prepped enough as a unit to, you know, prepare for the worst, but you expect whatever comes your way, uh, make the most of it. I feel you have to be very fluid. Sometimes I remember in my journey when I made my first short film after film school. I remember I telling my DOP, friend from film school, remember telling him, this shot will be at 35 lens.
Is that the shot that won a national award?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
right.
And he would be like, dude, but listen, there's better light here. I said, no, but this is what we've decided. I think somewhere you need to be slightly open. It's a strange balance between how much needs to be prepped and how much you need to be open to, because this is an art form which is actually about getting more energies together. I'm I enjoy more than the auteur school of filmmaking. I enjoy the collaborative school of filmmaking a lot more. I want to know as an actor what you think of this scene.
Right.
Is there a better interpretation that I have thought of? And anybody is free to throw an idea at me, and it's a lot of pressure because while you have to get the day done, at the same time you're also processing all these options and getting caught in all these options, thinking out which is the best one.
Right.
But somewhere I feel that's the joy of collaboration I enjoy.
Right.
That's actors, technicians. You prep for it. I said all the prep is actually plan B.
Yeah.
If you have no ideas on set today, we have a plan. Let's just film that, and you have days like that. But some days, your cheese flowing and you're at the top of your game. You're the best version of yourself today. Then you say, okay, just follow me and follow the instinct. This is what we're doing. Uh, Another thing which I always enjoy doing is to look at a script and saying that, who do you think this scene is for? Who's the hero of the scene? Sometimes it's not an actor, sometimes it's a DOP scene, sometimes it's a sound designer scene. And I always keep a note on my script saying, okay,
That's interesting. Yeah.
so I say, you know what, while my job is to just take a shot and do this, but the sound designer is gonna have so much fun, and I should give enough room for him to do his stuff and show his wares to on screen. So sometimes we just choose your heroes for a particular moment and back them. Sometimes I think direction or being a creator is a lot about knowing who's the batsman of the moment. it may not be you. You may not be the Virat Kohli right now. You know, it may be somebody else. To know that and respect that and to work with them is a joy.
Not exactly disagree, but may I offer a contrary point of view?
Absolutely, lovely.
I I get the feeling that the when you say contrasted auteur versus collaborative, I get the feeling that the word auteur over the years has gotten to be confused with one man does everything. I get the feeling that when we say Hitchcock is an auteur, for instance, he his signature is in all his films. It's not that he himself, Robert Burks, all those great cinematographers that he worked with. I don't think he denied like anybody or Martin Scorsese would say that he'd be anything without Thomas Schoonmaker, his editor. I think it's more like the sense of uh, a work. When you look at RGB, for instance, when you look at a frame, it's a Ram Gopal Verma frame.
Absolutely.
It's like, I think that's what I take to be the definition of author. Not so much as they don't collaborate ever, but it's just that whoever they collaborate with, there's a RGB-ness to the. Is it whoever or whomever? I always get mistaken, but let me not get into that right now. But yeah, but whatever they collaborate with it, that sense of RGB-ness is there. I think that's what I take to be an
I think
author.
that's the balance I strive for. I wish I have a very small body of work yet. Over the years, if the signature emerges, I don't think you add a signature. Signature emerges from
Yeah,
your work.
yeah.
The signature emerges, and you know what the signature to protect and to add to every story that you are telling. That will be wonderful. I think that's the right balance.
No, and I think you did mention that because the thing is, for example, I don't know if even the people that we consider auteurs, I don't know that there's okay, this is my signature, this is what I've got to do. I think it just came from the unconscious and it became something that pervaded through their work. And that's why we recognize them as auteurs. But anyway, let's get back to the Night Manager. So now that you're going to New York for the what do you plan to do there? Is it like is it just like a let's just go there, enjoy the whole thing and come back kind of thing, or are you also like I need to visit this, I need to do this, I need to visit the museum of whatever cinematic something whatever.
No, my father asked me the same question today. That what exactly happened on this trip? I said, imagine this to be a 5-day destination wedding, and it's like me getting married again because for me it's a big deal to be there. The last time
It's
during
a Swayamvar.
it's a Swayamvar.
Yeah, they get to pick one of the five.
Four, one of the four.
Four, yeah,
One of the
yeah.
four nominees. I just the last time I couldn't be there during Arya, and I said this is something which I'm looking forward to. I feel really elated that of the 4 shows that made the cut for and a worldwide audience of jury that chose this. They found this to be so meritorious. And I want to just, I think as a student of cinema, I sometimes end up undervaluing ourselves a lot. And somewhere I really want to spend those few days and realize that if you've done something with a lot of integrity and love, if it's really resonating, enjoy it, somewhere just capture it inside you and hope to use it to power my next few works. And it's an added responsibility this year, Baradwaj. We are the only show from India this year in the nominations. So somewhere also that feeling that okay, we are here repping India, so put your best foot forward. You're not like one of 5. You are the show. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. I'm only gonna attend the events. I think it's a short trip for me, and I hope when India wakes up on 26th, uh, we have some good news, and I hope it'll mean a lot to me. I really enjoy it. I think the fact that it's got so far is good enough, but inshallah, if it goes across, it'll be beautiful.
That'd be great. So, wishing you all the best, and here's to many more shows and films from you.
Thank you so much, Bharadwaj.
South India's #1 travel brand. You know you are special when you're with GT Holidays.